Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lindsay, and with today's video, we're gonna be doing my October plan with me. And I definitely was in a very creative, doodly mood, just because last month for September, I definitely went more for a junk journaling theme, almost fields notes, cottagecore, definitely a lot of warm tones. So this time around for October, I wanted to be a little bit more doodly, but thinking back on it, I've never done a, spooky theme before. I've done Spirited Away, and I've also done, I want to say more of like an Inari Spirit Fox type of theme, but I've never done anything spooky per se. So I ended up doing ghosts just because they're super cute, super easy, and for some reason I've been really wanting to do a theme that had a lot of black in it. Definitely not just black and white, because I feel like that might be a little bit too boring, but I wanted to incorporate a good bit of black. So pretty much my color palette is very minimal, to be honest. I didn't want to go too crazy. I ended up doing this like really cool tone purple, a very cool tone brown taupe color with a bit of a saturated yellow, and then I just accented it with a bit of my white Jelly Roll pen and my gold pen. Now the white pen is just more for like corrections, just because I never really done a theme where I used so much black. I just didn't want my doodles to kind of get lost in the space of it, so I used the white gel pen to kind of create thicker space just to give more shape to the doodles. But again, like if you've been here for a while, you know me and white pens, white paint, white anything just does not work. And I definitely was struggling a bit. I know in the past you guys told me that anything that's water-based, like ink in terms of markers, won't really work well with white pens. And I've tried, but I feel like no matter what I do, whether it's a water-based marker or not, it just doesn't come out the way I intended it to be. So I don't know, I tried my best this time, but I wasn't 100% happy. For the calendar layout, I struggled a little bit with trying to decide on what type of layout I wanted to do. If you guys don't know by now, I'm super indecisive. I'm always doubting what I want to do, or if I really do like something, I'll be stuck on it, but when it doesn't work out, I feel like it's the end of the world. And that's kind of like how I felt with my calendar layout. For the longest time, I was really stuck on the idea of doing like floating boxes to create like almost a whimsicalness because of the theme, but realistically it would have really limited the amount of space that I could write everything that I needed to do for the month in a box. So because I was afraid of that end up, being a thing, I just stuck with the tried and true of a boxed square calendar layout thing, which wasn't too bad because I was able to implement the black background. Because even though I knew I wanted to do black, I did not know where I wanted to incorporate it. I kind of just went with the flow on what felt right. And sometimes, going with the flow always has its drawbacks. But I am kind of happy that I ended up doing this type of layout. I wish I could have done more though. Something about it, it's not terrible, but it's not the best. And I really tried my best to kind of figure out what I could do different. And then speaking of being different, I ended up wanting to do calligraphy. Why? I don't know. As much as I really admire people who do calligraphy, I myself don't really like to do it. And the reason why is because every time I would just freehand a word in calligraphy, it would always go downhill. Like the angle will slightly start turning downward and it can never be a straight line. and it would irritate me so much that I just ended up not wanting to do it. But I wanted to be a little different and was just like, let's give it a try. And I'm kind of glad it worked out, because I'm telling you, me writing anything free-handed without any lines, my words always go down crooked. Even as a kid, on printing paper or construction paper, every time I'll try and write something, my letters literally look like the shape of a hill. It would just go normal and then downwards. So I was afraid of that happening, because I really liked how everything looked at this point, but I knew it would be a little bit of a gamble, and I'm glad that it turned out good. But yeah, calligraphy still makes me kind of like sweat bullets, because I never know. It's like a 50-50. It could turn out good or it can turn out bad. Now, speaking of bad, I don't know what the heck I was thinking, because when I freehanded this like pencil format, it was great. It was amazing. But once I went in with my pen, oh my God, it just kept getting worse and worse. Like, wow. Yeah, I don't know what happened. And once I noticed it, I kind of was so like over it. I'm not gonna even play with you guys. Like, I didn't know what was going on. So I tried to fix it with a little bit of my white gel pen, and I guess it kind of made it better, but still I do not I don't like looking back at this. It's one of those like, why are you there? What was I thinking? So I guess if I need a good laugh, I'll turn back to that page, but yeah, you can't win them all. At this point, I still felt like there was something missing. I just felt like it was not colorful enough. It didn't give me the same feelings that my cover page gave me. So I ended up putting a bit more color, because I don't know, I was thinking that maybe that would help it a little bit, and it kind of did, but I'll be honest, I don't know if it was enough. I didn't want to go too crazy, because the whole point was to be a little bit more on the minimal side, even though it's not a minimal theme. But I just felt like maybe a splash of color would be enough. And I'm still pretty much on the fence. Now, coming out of my calendar layout, I felt like I literally went through a tornado of emotions, because at this point I was so over it. I was just, I don't know if I was just frustrated, but I practically was just trying to get it over and done with, and I think my habit tracker was the result of that. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, I really do like it, but I usually don't try to go too simplistic with my layouts unless it's very, very intentional. But with this one, I just wanted to do the bare minimum. I didn't want to do little calendars for each habit that I wanted to track. I also didn't want to do something super extravagant, something very, I guess, time consuming and effort consuming, if that makes sense. Pretty much I was like, listen, I just need to get my habits tracked. How can I do this but in a very aesthetic way? So I was like, let's just throw a calendar tracker thing in the middle of the page, some doodles on the side, and then call it a day. That's it. So that's what I literally did, and it's not bad. It still gives me vibes like the cover page, which is ultimately what I was heading for. But wow, it's just crazy how my feelings of distraught, frustration, heartbreak resulted in something like this, because I still think this is too simple. It doesn't really have a lot going on, but I do like it. But wow, it's crazy like how things kind of turn out based on like other things. I don't know. But since it was definitely a little bit lackluster, I was like, okay, we need to throw in some like hardcore black like coloring somewhere. So at first I wasn't going to do a playlist this month just because I really haven't been listening to any new music. I've been listening more to like the old type of music. I want to say old, but like the same song you'll listen on repeat for the like last 3 weeks type of thing. Yeah, that's me. So I didn't think I would need one because of that, but I pretty much was like, well, screw it. I want to make one because why not? It's my journal. So I ended up doing it because it was a great way to incorporate that heaviness of coloring in the boxes black. It really looked nice against how empty the habit tracker is, which kind of was its saving grace, I'll be quite honest. But I just kept it very simple, ended up doing a more extravagant header. I think that's how you call it, like a title, a header, a thing. I kept it a little bit more extravagant since I did do like a little ribbon header in my habit tracker. But because I've been listening to the same songs on repeat, I didn't really have anything printed out or anything that I wanted to put into my journal just yet. But also because, again, I didn't make it to a printer. Like, I do have a printer at home, but I didn't have the time nor the care to go and print anything out. So I just left it empty, which is cool too. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave my playlist for something to be filled throughout the month. I definitely ended up doing a very simplistic weekly spread just because I was too all over the place with what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to do a Dutch door like I always do, or if I wanted to do like a one-page layout. I just wasn't sure, and my brain was just like scattered about because of this. So I was just to the point of keeping it bare minimal. So I ended up doing these vertical boxes, and I still wanted to have fun with it. I didn't want it to be boring, so I kind of made the boxes have like a really thick black border just to incorporate more of that black color. But also when I was doing it, it almost looked like tombstones. I know tombstones isn't something that I have throughout the theme, but I think it's like a really cool concept because it definitely plays into like the spooky season of October, and I just feel like it's a good way of introducing that idea without being too gimmicky about it. And I definitely don't like doing gimmicky. I feel like in my personal life, I'm super cringy. I'm the person who makes the dad jokes. Let's just say that. Like every time I think I'm funny and I want to crack a joke, it is unbearably cringe. So I try to stay away from anything that kind of allude to that, and especially avoiding anything that looks almost on the gimmicky side. So I like the fact that this kind of gives a little bit of like a tombstone look, but I wanted it to not be so on brand. So I ended up coloring just the top of the headers, the accent colors throughout the theme, which is like a very soft gray, a very pale yellow, and then a super pale pink. And then at this point, I kind of just ditched the white gel pen altogether because I was just not having a field day with it. I was ready to just throw it in the trash because it was not working. Like, it was literally stressing me out. So I ended up using like a white acrylic pen, and it kind of did its job, I'll be quite honest. I was really like surprised, and maybe I might have to get more. Ever since I first got my white acrylic pen and I lost it, I thought it was the end of the world, and then like months later I found it. I've been holding on to this puppy for like the longest. I promised myself, I vowed myself that I would not lose it, and I've yet to lose it. But pretty much I ended up creating a small little important section in my layout just because I realized I didn't really have a lot of space to do like a tasks section. I don't know why that was like very weird, but I ended up doing like a little small like important little thing just because it gives me enough space to write down anything super important, but it doesn't overall clutter the page. I just want to say thank you guys. I know this video came out a little bit more later than intended, but I have a lot of things going on in my life. But I'm just so happy that you stuck by and you watched the video all the way until the end, because if you did, comment down a ghost emoji, because those are the real ones. But until next time, bye.